The night was soaked in thunder. Rain slammed against the hospital windows like a warning from the sky. Inside, nurses rushed through flickering corridors trying to keep everything under control. The generator had just kicked in. Power lines outside were downed by the storm. A tense calm sat in the air, the kind that made hearts beat faster without knowing why. Elena Morrow, a night nurse with tired eyes and a soft heart, checked on a newborn in the NICU. Her fingertips lingered on the warm edge of the crib, the steady beep of monitors her only comfort. Then a scream echoed from the front lobby. It wasn't a patient. It wasn't human. Elena froze. Her radio crackled. Something's in the lobby, came a trembling voice. She didn't need more. She was already walking fast. Down the dim hallway past the surgery wing, until she reached the edge of the main entrance. There, in the center of the hospital's lobby, drenched from head to paw, stood a lion, a full-grown male, majestic, golden, and silent. And in its mouth, cradled like treasure between its teeth, was a baby wrapped in a soaked, faded cloth. Time stopped. Doctors and security stood still, unsure if movement would trigger disaster, but the lion made no sound, no threat. His golden eyes scanned the humans like he knew exactly what he was doing. Elena stepped forward. Someone whispered, "Are you crazy?" But she felt none of the fear they did. Only a pull. A strange, deep sense that this moment was not about danger but something else. She took slow, steady steps, never breaking eye contact with the lion. Rainwater pooled beneath its paws. Thunder cracked again. The baby let out a tiny cry, muffled by the cloth, and the lion lowered it, gently, onto the tiled floor. A gasp swept the room. Elena reached the bundle. The lion didn't flinch. It stood tall, still, watching. The baby was breathing. Alive. She scooped the child into her arms. His tiny chest rose and fell. His eyes fluttered open, brown and wide with fear. Tucked inside the blanket was a silver locket. Elena opened it. Inside was a small scratched photo of a woman holding a lion cub, and a note. To Elia. If anything happens to me, he will find you, a nurse named Elia. Elena's heart skipped. She knew that name. She had trained under Elia Carver years ago, one of the oldest nurses in this hospital, now retired and rumored to be living off-grid. Before she could process more, the lion gave one last look to the baby, then to Elena, and turned around. It walked toward the automatic doors. They hissed open, and the lion vanished into the storm. No one followed. No one spoke. Just silence and the soft whimper of a child in Elena's arms. In the hours that followed, the hospital ran like a shadow. Police came. Reports were filed. Cameras caught everything. The lion's entry, the way it never roared, never growled, just delivered life and left. But no one could explain it. The child had no ID, no hospital record. But he was healthy, save for signs of exposure to the cold. Social services were called, but Elena couldn't let go. Not yet. She sat by the infant through the night, and something about his quiet gaze made her chest ache. The photo, the locket. She scanned it again. The woman looked vaguely familiar. Not Elia, someone younger. Perhaps a daughter? She flipped the note over. There, in barely visible ink. They said a lion wouldn't remember, but I know he will. His name is Saru. He was raised with love, Saru. Elena stared at the door where the lion had left. Raised with love, she made a call. Off the record, Elia answered on the second ring. Elena? The old woman rasped. Is everything all right? I think someone came looking for you. After a pause, Elia whispered. Was it a lion? Elena couldn't speak for a moment. Yes, she finally said, and he brought a baby. The line went quiet, then Elia said, her name was Anna, my daughter. She raised Saru since he was a cub. Rescued him when poachers killed his mother. They grew up together in the sanctuary. Elena held her breath. 5 years ago, Elia continued. She disappeared during a flash flood near the reserve. They never found her or the child. This baby, he must be her son. I told her, Elia said, voice breaking, that if anything ever happened, Saru would protect him. Elena closed her eyes. A lion honoring a promise. It sounded like folklore, but it was real. Over the next days, the story exploded. News crews camped outside. Photos of the lion spread across the world. The guardian lion, they called him, but no one could find him again. Saru had disappeared as suddenly as he had come. The baby, now named Elias, was placed under temporary hospital care. But Elena couldn't let go. She fed him, cradled him, sang to him. And when she looked into his eyes, it was as if she saw the quiet strength of the lion who had brought him in, a fierce gentleness. 2 weeks later, Elena was granted foster care status. Elia came to meet the boy. She wept quietly, holding the child of her child, and together, they sat under the sunlight, watching the horizon beyond the hospital. Months passed. Elias grew stronger, laughed, crawled. Elena officially adopted him with Elia's blessing. And on the anniversary of that night, just as the sun dipped behind the trees, Elena took Elias to the edge of the hospital garden. There, standing, far in the distance, barely visible beneath the trees, was Saru, older now, eyes softer. He watched, silent, as if checking, as if confirming. Elias reached out his tiny hand, giggling, and Saru, the lion who crossed cities, braved storms, and carried the future in his jaws, gave a single, slow nod, then turned and disappeared into the forest, forever. But the boy would always remember. Even if he never understood why, the warmth he felt on stormy nights would linger. And sometimes in dreams he would see golden eyes watching over him. The world never found Saru again. But for those who had seen him walk through those hospital doors, they would never forget that some promises, when made with love, are kept, even by a lion